What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Today we're going to be doing a perfect no evidence run. Now, normally I would do no evidence runs with 0 sanity because it's often easy to rule in or out about half of the ghosts in one hunt if you prepare adequately. But it does make gathering media a little bit more complicated and tedious. So for the most part, I'd recommend gathering your media first while you have sanity and then trying to figure out your ghost. While we're collecting our media, we can observe certain behaviors or characteristics of our ghost, like whether it's active or not, whether it turns on or off the breaker. You can look to see if it performs any observable abilities, like a Ure door slam, poltergeist explosion, mimic orbs, banshee wails, twin interactions, early hunts, mare abilities, etc. Now for custom, I did do a preset of Nightmare. I changed our sanity pills to only include 20%. I did also take away our evidence right here, and I do recommend adding a Cursed Possession. This Cursed Possession will be an additional free photo because photos are very difficult to get due to the lack of evidence photos that you can obtain in a no evidence run. Unless you get super lucky with Dirty Water, you'll often find yourself needing at least 2 unique ghost photos. And if you have a shade or just a shy ghost, that's a difficult task. But no matter what, we're going to need at least 1 ghost photo in this particular setup. All right, so for the sake of convenience, I've thrown everything that we need to collect our media inside, as well as anything that we might need in order to figure out what our ghost is. I am going to save the last video and the last sound recording for the hunting ghost though. All right, so the very first thing we're gonna wanna do is turn on our breaker because we want the lights on for as long as possible so our sanity doesn't keep draining until we're prepared to get a hunt. Preparation is important. This will also warm up the house because as you can see, let's look here. 2.9, this actually might be our ghost room. This might be our ghost room already. We'll check the other areas. Yeah, I mean, the rest of the house is between 8 and 9 degrees. Downstairs was 2 degrees. So because our ambient temperatures are between 9 and 8, we're definitely going to want to find a ghost room below 5. I think this qualifies. Don't know if that was thrown by the ghost. I think those are normally standing up, so this is perfect. Normally when I'm looking for the ghost room, I'll also be trying to look for my bone and my Cursed Possession. I did not have time to do that though, because we found our ghost room immediately. All right, since we found our ghost room, the very first thing I like to do is keep a camera in my inventory, which I left downstairs. So I'm gonna keep this camera in my inventory because if we get a ghost event, those types of photos are extremely hard to get, especially if your ghost is not very active. So we wanna be prepared at a moment's notice. Now, because it can take some time before we actually get a photo, I like to work towards my video camera media at the same time. So I will place 1 salt down, only 1 salt, and try to get that 1 step at a time. I could go get my candle and my motion sensor at the same time, but usually it doesn't take the ghost long to step in stuff. All right, I'm gonna keep my camera on me just in case we get a ghost event, but I'm gonna go grab a candle and a motion sensor. I like to try to get these kinds of videos because they're pretty reliable. So getting a motion sensor or the ghost to blow out a candle is pretty reliable. And you usually don't have to wait too long to get them, which... Oh, see, there we go. Now, usually, and there we go, we got them both. So now we have 3 videos and we just need 2 more. I actually only need 1 more because I am gonna save the last slot for the hunting ghost. But those are pretty reliable, pretty easy to get. And I probably haven't even lost any sanity at this point. All right, the next thing I'm gonna go grab is a crucifix because crucifix burns are also really good photos to get. Now, I will try to get a photo of the ghost eventing if possible, but sometimes you just don't get it. Especially if the ghost... Oh, unlike that. There's my camera. I didn't keep my camera on me, which was probably not the smartest move there. And I don't... Do I have my camera? I don't have my video camera on me. Oh, there it is. There it is. Oh, just in time, just in time. Oh, that's actually a unique photo right there because we had a translucent ghost and then we also have the ghost. So we actually got really extremely lucky and we probably won't have any issues with photos. Now, since I was super lucky getting 2 back-to-back ghost photos, we're gonna work on getting our sound recordings now. Now, 2 sound recordings that are really, really easy to get are Candle Extinguish and Burn Cruces. So I will definitely try to get our candles here, which I brought them all down in our little intermission here. I'm gonna try to record the candle extinguish. That is an easy sound to get. Oh, perfect. Oh, that's new. That's new as of today. There's a little confirmation that we successfully recorded the candle extinguish. Perfect. Also, the journal is extremely bright. So this one we're saving for the hunt. We're gonna save at least one of these. I don't actually need to get the crucifix. Now I can try to get a paranormal sound here. If I weren't going to try for the hunting ghost, I would probably try for the crucifix. I don't actually want that, otherwise that'll be a duplicate. But with paranormal sounds, a lot of the time, it's really hard to tell them apart. It's so loud. It's so loud. It's really hard to tell them apart. Sometimes the talking sounds like whispering, the whispering sounds like groaning, the groaning sounds like talking. So I only like to get one paranormal sound from our ghost. The laughing is usually pretty distinguishable though. All right, we were successful with that one too. Now I don't need to get any more of these. We can get the rest of it during the hunt. I'm gonna go ahead and take this upstairs. I'm also gonna bring our camera upstairs. I'll just have those ready. So now all we need are our photos. So one really easy photo to get is any EMF reading. It can be EMF 5, it can be EMF 2, EMF 3, EMF 4. It does not matter, and they are not unique. A photo of EMF 5 versus a photo of EMF 2, 3, 4 is not unique. All right, our ghost just touched the breaker door here, so I'm gonna go ahead and take this photo. And that will give us 3 photos right here. So now the last thing that I need is the cursed possession and the bone. So now we gotta go find it. All right, we found our bone. It's a foot bone. Now we just need our cursed possession and our photos are done. All right, it's a music box. Perfect. So now that we have perfect photos, each with a unique stamp here, as well as we have 4 videos. The last video is going to be the hunting ghost. We also have 2 media sounds. The last one is going to be the hunting ghost as well. Now let's talk about what we've observed with this ghost. Now we've seen it step in salt, so we know it's not a wraith. We also know it's fairly active down there, and shades, they're not going to be blowing out candles when we're down there. They're not going to be eventing as much as they are, especially as high sanity that we are. It's definitely not going to be a shade. There is a big possibility this is probably not an on-Rio either, but it's hard to tell where the ghost is in its 3 blowout cycle sometimes. So we'll probably try to do one more on-Rio test once our sanity is low and we can reliably get it hunting. We also know that this is not a phantom, because going back to our media, we can see our ghosts in our photo. We can see interference in our photograph as well. So we know for a matter of fact, this is not a phantom. Other than that, there's not really much that we can tell. We haven't had any breaker turnoffs. We haven't had any missed events. So we don't know if it's an Oni. Goryo is something we gotta do over time. Some of these ghosts, like the twins, we're gonna be able to tell during a hunt. So I think what we're gonna do next is we're gonna use our music box, but I do have crucifixes downstairs, and the music box will end up using our crucifixes. So I wanna remove our crucifixes and then get it to hunt so that we can look at it and hear it during a hunt. All right, let's get our ghost to hunt. We're gonna drain our sanity with the music box as much as we can. I believe that's one of our objectives as well. So we'll see when that checks off. Perfect, and now our ghost is hunting. So to me, that sounds like a normal speed ghost. All right. I forgot to grab one of these before. Oh! You double backed on me for a second there. I need to swap over to this. All right, let's record him here as well. Ooh, that wasn't clean, but oh, we got it. We heckin' got it. I wasn't expecting him to double back there. We got the hunting ghost as well as the hunting recording. Well, that's really loud. That is really loud. So other than that, I didn't really observe too terribly much with the ghost because I was trying to also get the recordings. But what I did notice, it did not look like an Oni at all. It was definitely normal speed, so we can cross out a bunch of normal speed ghosts here. I don't think it was a Raiju. I'll double check Raiju because we did speed it up a little bit before we pulled an electronic out. However, I think one of our electronics was on, so I'm gonna go ahead and actually keep him crossed out. Not a Hantu, not the twins, not a Revenant. They were all very normal ghosts. I think probably not a yokai. We can double check for yokai here. Nope, he immediately came back. He's not really throwing a lot, so I'm probably gonna say not a poltergeist here. We're gonna check for shape-shifting. In order to check for shape-shifting, though, we have to keep eyes on him because he only shapeshifts during certain blinks. So I'm gonna use my globals every once in a while to keep him on my trail. All right, I did not see any shape-shifting at all. He was not a yokai. I'm gonna say not a poltergeist. He just was not throwing enough. All right, I think during this next hunt, I'm gonna go ahead and test for Jinn. Our ghost has not turned off our breaker. And I think I will also smudge so that we can test for spirit and or demon. Here comes our ghost. Oh. Not a Jinn. Not a Jinn. Let's go smudge him over here. Smudged. All right. Now we have a timer. You guys won't be able to see it on the screen, unfortunately, but there will be an audio cue when 3 minutes is up. In the meantime, I'm gonna go down into the basement with my crucifixes again. Try to cover the room as best as possible. We'll put a crucifix here and a crucifix here. I'm gonna go ahead and light all of our candles and kind of spread them out around our ghost. I have another smudge stick for safety. And we're gonna see if the ghost burns our crucifix while our candle is lit. But in the meantime, we just have to observe. All right, our ghost is not a spirit. Unfortunately, I can't see my own timer, so I couldn't tell if that was demon early, but not a spirit and not an Onryo. Our crucifix did burn while our candles were lit. So now I'm going to remove our crucifixes because I don't need them downstairs anymore. There's nothing to be gained by doing that. Now we need to check for a few things. We need the ghost to get sufficiently far enough away from us to be able to tell if it's a myling. Yurei, we just need it to do its ability. Banshee in the basement is unfortunately very hard to determine. There goes our ghost turning off our light. We knew it was not. Oh no, and it's in the basement. Okay, I will take a crucifix with me just for protection while I go turn on the light. So something we could do is try to get a banshee wail on our paramic in the meantime, but I feel like paramic noises have been a little bit stingy, so we can try listening and observing, especially even during hunts. We can try to get a banshee wail during a hunt. All right, so I'm just gonna keep pointing our paramic at our ghost. What's nice is this is gonna constantly tell our ghost where we are. And so he'll constantly keep moving in this direction. There should be no double backing on me. So unfortunately, no paramic sounds during that hunt. I can keep trying to do this for a little while, but so far what I've noticed is it hasn't been roaming, so mare is probably out of the question here, but I can still keep turning on the lights down here, see if it roams at all. The ghost also hasn't changed rooms, so Goryo is still on the table. I do need to double check myling though, so perhaps we will go observe with our paramic a little bit further away this hunt. So I can already tell that this is not a myling because it's very loud. Usually with mylings, sounds like he's in the garage. I should not be able to hear a myling from the garage. So one obvious thing that we could do in order to rule out one of our other ghosts that we still have on the table is to look for mimic orbs. If you ever came to my stream, you know that I do not like to figure out mimics based on their orbs. I like to figure out mimics solely based on their behaviors, but if I can't narrow down our ghosts any further, then I will look for orbs just for this video. All right, we are gonna try to demon test again. In the meantime, we can keep listening to our ghost to see if it'll give us any banshee wail. So far, it has given me nothing. So at this point in my investigation, I've gained no new knowledge. It failed the demon test. It has not roamed away from the lights. So if this is a mare, then it hasn't done that. It hasn't broken any lights. It hasn't done a Yurei ability. It hasn't given me any sort of banshee wail. The last thing that we could do before making our decision is go check for orbs. Now, I believe our camera is still down here. Let's see if we can get down here quick enough to disperse our crucifixes. My camera was not downstairs because I was trying to record the ghost. But let's double check for orbs super fast. Now, normally, again, I really don't think this is a mimic solely based on observation. The ghost hasn't changed its behavior at all. And I'm gonna say no orbs here, so probably most likely no mimic. That in conjunction, because orbs sometimes like to hide, that in conjunction with the not changing behavior, I'm gonna say not a mimic.
Men go mad with watching.
That was at least 3 paramic sounds, and I have not heard any sort of banshee scream. I'm gonna wait until we have 1 more sound on the paramic before I completely rule out banshee here. All right, there's our 4th sound on the paramic, and it was not a banshee wail. I'm gonna go ahead and rule out banshee, rule out Ure, cross out Mimo. I think our last option here has to be Goryo. So let's leave. Let's lock in our answer and see if we were right. So even if you're not 100% sure that something is a Goryo, for example, if you have gone through each one of these and you cannot plausibly say, this is probably a da-da-da, then it's probably a Goryo. Goryo is the last ghost that you cross out because the only way to tell if it's a Goryo is just to observe it for a long time. If it doesn't change its ghost room, could be a Goryo. Survey says... Yay! Let's go! We actually got the perfect ghost to be able to show off how to do a no evidence run, because you literally have to go through every single ghost test known to man before you say, yeah, we probably have a Goryo here. With that said, thank you so much for watching. I hope this gave you a little bit more confidence to do your own no evidence run. If you have any questions or would like to leave any comments, make sure you do so in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next Phasmophobia video. Bye!